The massive starship Celestial Horizon drifted silently through the void of space, its sleek metallic hull reflecting the distant starlight. Captain Jae-hwan Park stood on the bridge, his dark eyes scanning the blue-green planet that filled the main viewing screen. Earth looked deceptively peaceful, a marble of swirling clouds and deep oceans that betrayed nothing of the potential brewing beneath its surface. Admiral Sung-ho Kim approached, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. "Preliminary scans complete," he announced, his voice carrying the typical dismissiveness of the Celestial Confederation. "Primitive communication networks. Rudimentary space exploration. Barely space-capable civilization." Jae-hwan remained silent, something about the planet tugging at his instincts. The data scrolled across the holographic displays, population centers, technological infrastructure, resource distribution. Everything suggested a young species still struggling to understand its place in the universe. The ship's communication officer, a young woman named Eugene, interrupted the silence. "Captain, we're detecting multiple satellite networks, advanced digital communication systems, and unusual energy signatures from multiple locations on the planet." Admiral Kim waved his hand dismissively. "Probably some basic industrial technology. Nothing to concern ourselves with." But Jae-hwan knew better. He had seen young civilizations before, and something about Earth felt different. The way their communication networks seemed to pulse with an almost organic complexity, the strange adaptive technologies glimpsed in their preliminary scans, it was unlike anything he had encountered. "Prepare the standard first contact protocol," the Admiral commanded. "We'll send a diplomatic transmission. They'll understand their place in the galactic hierarchy soon enough." The transmission was crafted with the typical Celestial Confederation approach, a mixture of condescension and clinical detachment. It outlined the Confederation's existence, their technological superiority, and the expectation of immediate compliance with galactic protocols. What they didn't know was that every single transmission was being analyzed, decoded, and studied by a network of human researchers who were anything but primitive. In a hidden research facility deep beneath the mountains of Chile, Dr. Eun Ji-choi watched the alien transmission with a slight smile. Her team had been preparing for this moment for years. The Global Defense Network wasn't just a military project, it was a testament to human adaptability and innovation. "They think we're simple," she muttered to her colleague, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez. "They have no idea what's coming." The alien ship continued its observation, completely unaware that the planet they viewed as a potential easy conquest was already mounting a response that would reshape galactic politics forever. Jae-hwan felt a strange unease. Something about the planet's energy felt different. The data suggested a species on the brink of a technological revolution, but the Confederation's protocols demanded a standard approach. Categorize. Assess. Potentially subjugate. As the celestial horizon maintained its orbit, thousands of kilometers below, humanity was anything but unaware. Research facilities, military installations, and a global network of scientists were already analyzing every piece of data, every transmission, every potential threat. The first encounter was about to begin, and neither side fully understood what was coming. The ship's massive engines hummed with potential energy. Weapons systems were online, but not actively charged. It was a standard approach, a show of force, but not an immediate threat. The Celestial Confederation had conquered hundreds of civilizations. Another would be no different. Or so they thought. Jae-hwan continued to watch the planet, a strange feeling growing in the pit of his stomach. Something about Earth was different. Something was waiting. Something was preparing. And neither the Celestial Confederation nor humanity knew exactly what was about to unfold. The blue-green planet continued its silent rotation, holding its secrets close, waiting for the moment when everything would change. The research facility buzzed with quiet intensity. Dr. Eun Ji-choi moved between holographic displays, her fingers dancing across complex data streams. Scattered across multiple screens were blueprints of adaptive technologies that looked more like living organisms than traditional machines. Global leaders had gathered in a secure underground complex. The alien transmission had confirmed their worst fears and greatest hopes. Humanity was not alone, and more importantly, they were not defenseless. Military strategists worked alongside scientists, engineers, and technology experts. Their goal was simple but challenging: develop a defense system that could respond to unknown threats with unprecedented speed and flexibility. Prototype weapons systems emerged from secret laboratories. Nanite swarms that could reconfigure themselves instantly. Communication networks that could adapt and redirect signals faster than any known technology. Quantum computing platforms that could predict potential attack scenarios in milliseconds. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez focused on adaptive AI systems. "We're not just building weapons," he explained to his team. "We're creating an intelligent defense network that learns and evolves." Satellite networks began repositioning. Communication infrastructures were reinforced. Every major city became a potential fortress, with hidden defense mechanisms that could activate within seconds. The global preparation was unlike anything in human history. Nations that once competed now worked together. Technology companies shared research. Military branches integrated their knowledge. The alien transmission had done what decades of diplomacy could not: unite humanity completely. In underground research centers, scientists worked around the clock. They analyzed the alien transmission, studying communication patterns, technological signatures, and potential weakness points. Each piece of data was a potential weapon. Military training programs changed overnight. Soldiers were now being trained in adaptive combat techniques. They learned to think like fluid systems, to move and respond with unpredictable precision. Dr. Choi's team developed something revolutionary: a neural-linked combat interface that could connect human intuition with machine response. Soldiers could control complex defense systems with thought, reducing reaction times to almost zero. Space research facilities began rapid modifications to existing satellite and exploration technologies. Hidden weapon systems were integrated into what appeared to be simple communication platforms. Every piece of human technology became a potential defensive tool. The alien ship continued its observation, completely unaware of the preparations happening beneath them. The Celestial Confederation believed they were looking at a primitive civilization. They had no idea they were being studied just as carefully. Governments redirected massive financial resources. Entire economic structures were modified to support the global defense initiative. It wasn't about winning a potential conflict, it was about survival. Quantum communication networks were established, creating communication channels that could not be intercepted or disrupted by traditional means. If the aliens attacked, humanity would be ready. Dr. Rodriguez looked at Dr. Choi. "They won't know what hit them," he said quietly. The preparation was not just technological. It was a complete reimagining of human potential. Every system, every network, every piece of technology was being transformed into a potential weapon of defense. As the alien ship continued its silent observation, humanity prepared. Not with fear, but with a strange, calculated determination. They were going to show the universe exactly what they were capable of. The blue planet continued its rotation, holding its secrets close. Beneath its surface, a civilization was transforming itself, ready to face whatever might come. No one knew exactly what would happen. But humanity was prepared to fight, to adapt, and most importantly, to survive. The countdown to first contact had begun. The first wave of Celestial Confederation ships approached Earth's orbital zone with calculated precision. Captain Hyunwoo Lee watched from the underground command center, his eyes fixed on the holographic display showing incoming alien vessels. "Defensive networks activated," a technician announced. The alien ships looked like giant metallic predators, sharp, angular, designed for pure destruction. They moved with a mechanical grace that suggested centuries of advanced technological development. Each vessel carried enough firepower to destroy multiple continents. But humanity had been preparing. As the first alien weapons powered up, something unexpected happened. The Earth's orbital defense systems weren't just static platforms. They were living, breathing networks of adaptive technology. Quantum-linked satellites suddenly shifted position. Their surfaces transformed, mimicking the incoming alien weapon signatures.
Where traditional defense systems would have been destroyed in seconds, these new platforms absorbed, redirected, and neutralized incoming energy attacks. The alien commanders couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Their most advanced weapons were being reflected back at them, transformed into harmless energy streams.
Captain Lee's voice remained calm.
Initiate adaptive response protocol.
Suddenly, the space around Earth transformed.
Nanite swarms erupted from hidden satellite clusters, moving like liquid metal through space.
They didn't attack directly, instead, they invaded the alien communication networks, disrupting their coordination.
The Celestial Confederation's rigid command structure began to crumble. Their ships, designed for precise, predictable warfare, couldn't adapt to the fluid, unpredictable human response. One by one, alien vessels found their systems compromised.
Navigation controls failed. Weapon systems became unreliable. Communication channels collapsed into white noise.
Dr. Eun-ji Choi watched from her research facility, a slight smile crossing her face.
They never understood, she muttered. Adaptability is our greatest weapon. The battle wasn't about overwhelming firepower.
It was about intelligence, flexibility, and the ability to learn and respond in real time.
Human defense platforms seemed to move with an almost organic intelligence.
They anticipated alien attack vectors, redirected energy weapons, and systematically dismantled the invasion fleet's coordination.
Within hours, what was supposed to be a simple pacification mission turned into a complete disaster for the Celestial Confederation.
Alien commanders watched in shock as their most advanced fleet was systematically neutralized by a species they had considered primitive. Their technological superiority meant nothing against an enemy that could think and adapt faster than their most advanced computer systems. The final blow came unexpectedly. A network of quantum-linked satellites suddenly projected a message across all alien communication channels. It was simple, direct, and clear. You are not welcome here. The remaining alien ships began to retreat. Their perfect formation collapsed. What had begun as a confident invasion turned into a chaotic withdrawal.
Captain Lee's team erupted in controlled celebration. They hadn't just defended Earth, they had sent a message to the entire galaxy.
Humanity was not a species to be underestimated.
As the last alien vessels disappeared from Earth's orbital zone, a new era began. The planet that had once been viewed as a backwater technological wasteland had just demonstrated capabilities that would reshape galactic understanding.
The first clash was over. And Earth had won in a way no one could have predicted.
Beneath the planet's surface, humanity continued its preparations.
This was just the beginning. The universe was about to learn a valuable lesson: never underestimate a species capable of turning limitations into strengths. Space remained silent, bearing witness to a transformation that would echo through countless civilizations. Admiral Ji-Yoon Park studied the galactic map with cold precision. The first defense had been successful, but humanity knew the real challenge was just beginning.
The Celestial Confederation would not accept defeat quietly. Intelligence reports streamed in from multiple solar systems.
The alien civilization was regrouping, preparing a massive counterattack. But humanity was already 3 steps ahead.
Quantum communication networks became weapons of strategic brilliance.
Human teams infiltrated alien communication systems, spreading disinformation, creating chaos within the Confederation's military structures.
They didn't just defend, they attacked with surgical precision. Supply lines began to collapse. Strategic communication hubs mysteriously went offline.
The Confederation's rigid hierarchical system became its greatest weakness.
Where they expected linear responses, humans introduced complete unpredictability.
Dr. Marcus Rodriguez had developed a breakthrough technology. Adaptive AI systems that could predict and manipulate alien communication patterns faster than their most advanced computers could process. Each alien transmission became a potential trap. Specialized teams worked in hidden facilities around the globe. They weren't just military personnel, they were a new breed of strategic warriors. Programmers, mathematicians, communication experts, and tactical specialists worked as one unified organism.
The counteroffensive wasn't about destruction.
It was about systematic dismantling of the Celestial Confederation's infrastructure. Every communication network became a potential battlefield. Every satellite a potential weapon. Alien military commanders found their most secure communication channels compromised. Intelligence reports became unreliable. Strategic planning sessions were infiltrated before they could even begin. Humanity attacked the Confederation's psychological infrastructure. They understood that true warfare wasn't about physical destruction, but about breaking the enemy's will to fight. Specialized propaganda networks began broadcasting across alien communication channels. Messages that highlighted the Confederation's weaknesses, their historical failures, the fragility of their supposedly impenetrable systems. The first wave of counterattacks targeted the Confederation's communication relays. Entire networks went dark. Military coordination collapsed. What had been a massive, unified force began to fragment. Strategic missile platforms were repositioned. Not to attack directly, but to create psychological pressure. Each movement was calculated to create maximum uncertainty. Dr. Eun Ji-choi's team developed nanite infiltration systems that could enter alien technological networks without detection. They didn't destroy, they observed, learned, and systematically weakened critical infrastructure. The galaxy watched in shock. A species that had been considered primitive was now systematically dismantling one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. Alien leadership began to panic. Their communication channels revealed growing internal conflicts. The idea of human technological capability was breaking their collective psychological resilience. Admiral Park understood the true battlefield was not in space, but in the minds of their enemies. Every action was calculated to create maximum psychological pressure. Quantum communication networks became weapons more powerful than any physical missile. Information became the most dangerous weapon in human arsenal. The Celestial Confederation's military structure began to crack. Their rigid systems couldn't comprehend the fluid, adaptive approach of human strategic thinking. Specialized human teams continued their work. No single strategy defined their approach. They were constantly changing, constantly adapting, making themselves impossible to predict or counter. As weeks passed, the Confederation's once mighty military structure began to resemble a collection of isolated, confused units. Their communication networks were compromised. Their strategic planning was in chaos. Humanity had transformed warfare into an art form of psychological and technological manipulation. The counteroffensive wasn't just a military operation. It was a complete reimagining of conflict itself. The galaxy watched, uncertain of what would happen next. Humanity had just rewritten the rules of galactic engagement. And they were just getting started. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Hyun-Ki Bae walked in. Representatives from dozens of civilizations watched with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The once mighty Celestial Confederation sat defeated, their once pristine uniforms now looking worn and faded. Underestimation, Hyun-Ki began, his voice calm and measured, is the most dangerous mistake any civilization can make. The final confrontation was unlike any diplomatic meeting in galactic history. Humanity hadn't just defeated the Celestial Confederation, they had fundamentally changed the understanding of technological and strategic potential. Dr. Eun Ji-choi stood behind Hyun-Ki, her presence a silent reminder of the technological revolution that had just reshaped galactic politics. The human delegation carried no weapons, yet every alien representative felt an overwhelming sense of potential energy. The Confederation's lead diplomat tried to speak, but words failed him. Their once unassailable technological superiority had been completely dismantled by a species they had considered primitive just months earlier. Holographic displays showed the systematic breakdown of the Confederation's infrastructure. Not through destruction, but through a complex network of adaptive technologies and strategic infiltration. Humanity had fought a war without traditional weapons, using information and adaptability as their primary tools. Admiral Ji-Eun Park presented the terms. They weren't a traditional surrender document, but a comprehensive restructuring of galactic interaction protocols. The message was clear: the old ways of conquest and hierarchical control were finished.
Alien representatives watched in shock as humanity proposed a new model of galactic cooperation. It wasn't about domination, but about collective growth and mutual understanding. Each civilization would have a voice, each technological advancement would be shared. The quantum communication networks that had been humanity's primary weapon now became a tool for unprecedented diplomatic collaboration. Information would flow freely, technological barriers would be dismantled. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez demonstrated how human adaptive technologies could solve challenges that had plagued multiple civilizations for centuries. Energy production, communication challenges, resource management, everything was about to change. The Celestial Confederation's representative finally spoke, his voice broken. How? He asked simply. How did a species we considered so primitive defeat us so completely? Hyun-Ki smiled. Because we understand something you never did. Adaptability is more powerful than rigid perfection. The new galactic protocols were revolutionary. No single civilization would have absolute control. Technology would be shared. Communication would be transparent. The era of conquest was over. Humanity had not just won a war. They had transformed the entire concept of galactic interaction. Small human delegations began spreading across different solar systems. Not as conquerors, but as partners. Their adaptive technologies began solving challenges that had seemed impossible for centuries. The quantum communication networks became a new form of diplomatic infrastructure. Information flowed like a living organism, breaking down barriers between civilizations that had existed for millennia. Dr. Choi's research teams were already working on collaborative projects with alien scientists. What had begun as a defensive strategy was now becoming a new model of collective advancement. The galaxy watched as humanity demonstrated that true strength wasn't about military might, but about the ability to learn, adapt, and grow. The Celestial Confederation's ancient systems collapsed. Their rigid hierarchies became obsolete. A new era of collaborative exploration began. Hyun-Ki looked out over the Galactic Council. We are not here to rule, he said simply. We are here to collaborate. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage. And nothing would ever be the same again. The universe held its breath, watching a new chapter of collective evolution begin. Adaptability had become the most powerful weapon in existence. And humanity had mastered it perfectly.